What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. That's spelled D-I-A-Z. Not to be confused with D-I-A-S or anything along those natures. Along those natures. I don't think natures needed a plural. Idiot. Been a little while since I weighed in on the Sebastian Rogers case. Sometimes it's just a little too much, but you know, I sit back and I watch and I pay attention, and yeah, guess I got some things to say today. And shout out Pearls, the Pearlers, the Clutchers. The Pearl Clutchers on their way in, and Lab Rats, and any non-affiliated person, newcomers, old-timers, new timers, all kinds of timers. It's good to be here. It's good to see you. Come on in. I call them Pearl Clutchers. Pearls are there, but what about the rats? Where are the lab rats? The chat rats. We need some chat rats too, you know. That's what it is. That's what the chat is. Chat rats do. Lab rats, chat rats, all kinds. Come one, come all, right? We're here to unify. Very good. Good to see you guys. Tonight, there's some things that I felt like discussing and that we will discuss. And by the way, if you have not, please check out the 4-part series on the Michael Vaughn case. And, you know, it's been quite an experience deep diving back into that case. I'll tell you that right now. And he says, I want to be a rat that wears pearls. Also, Dr. Gary and I, Dr. Gary Bricado, we did a live call-in show just the other day. Fantastic show. Fantastic. Not because of me, but because the callers and Dr. Gary, and we're fixing the delay, I think. I don't know. Somebody said that we were fixing the delay. I doubt that. I'm just kidding. We're doing everything we can to fix it. Anyway, let's just get down to brass tacks here and talk turkey. Sebastian Rogers case. Okay. The case itself, not a lot, you know, when it comes to the actual case. It's been very tight-lipped. Most of what's come out is speculation, innuendo, opinion. Most, and when I say most opinions are asinine, well, I guess that's just my opinion. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't, you know, there are a lot of people that say, I respect everybody's opinion. I respect everybody's opinion. You know. I don't respect everybody's opinion, but I respect everybody's right to have an opinion, because most of the time I don't agree with said opinions. And now that's just me being grumpy and you know, just stating how I feel. I listen to things, I hear people talk, and I go, holy crap. There's a lot of sharp corners in this world. Also, sorry, before we start, I want to give a shout out to Daniel at the drunk turkey show. I think some of you are familiar with it. He was attacked by his own dog, a very large animal, and he almost died. So, and I talked to him a little bit today. He's a good guy. His bite was horrific. He had to go into surgery, hit an artery, and just, you know, I've been on his show. He's been on mine. I like the guy a lot. It's like a 2-month recovery time. I mean, his bite looked like he got bit by a shark. It was just, I think it was like an XL bully. It was enormous, like 100 and something pounds. And, you know, one of the things that he said is, and when he was telling the story, is that this dog, you know, it went after his wife at first, and then he, you know, intervened, and then the dog latched onto him, to his arm. And he said that the dog had him pinned up against the wall, and it was horrific to hear. What he said was, you know, and he said when the dog had him pinned up against the wall, he had grabbed the dog with his arms or whatever. And I thought what he was going to say was, I told that dog that he needs to get off of me or I'll kill you or whatever. You know, what he said was, he was saying to the dog, he said he looked the dog right in the eye while it was clamped down on him. And he said, please let go. Let go. You're going to kill me. Please let go. He was begging the dog. And it turned him loose. And because of that, he survived. You know, he's a big guy. He's a big, strong man, you know. And it was just a terrible thing. I saw the wound. It was horrific beyond. I've never seen a dog bite look like that ever in my life. And I've seen a lot of dog bites. I've known a lot of people that have gotten bitten by dogs. Yeah. And I believe the dog was about 3 years old, and they did have to put the dog down. And he feels like he let the dog down. And it's just, you know, I don't know. It's just a terrible situation. No, it wasn't Dr. Gary. It was Daniel from the Drunk Turkey Show, and he's a true crime channel. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But like I said, I talked to him today, and he's been diagnosed with PTSD because of this attack. You know, he's skittish around his dogs right now. The whole thing is just absolutely horrible. So prayers up to him for quick healing. They got him on antibiotics, a wound vac for 2 months. But he's lucky to be alive, and that's a fact. Those dogs are strong, and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't care how strong of a person you are, and he is a strong guy. He was an ex-police officer. He's probably my size, maybe taller. We're somewhere around the same size, and there's nothing you can do. You're at the mercy of that animal. Yeah, it's basically the same thing as being attacked by a mountain lion or a bear or something. No, he is not small. He's not a small guy, you know. But he was he basically begged the dog, looked him in the eye, and I think probably what ends up happening, and this is just me speculating, is that what happens is the dog ends up recognizing him and then going, you know, eventually. Takes a while, though. So anyway, shout out to, if you go to his Twitter page, and I believe it's Drunk Turkey Show on Twitter, and by the way, it's graphic. So for the faint of heart, I don't suggest it, but if it's something that you can handle, XL Bully, yeah, and he's such a nice guy. You know, I really do like Daniel. I told him, you know, we need to get back together and do some shows and stuff. So we're gonna do that. But I reached out to him because that was terrifying. Not quite the same as a mountain lion or a bear. Well, you look at the bite and then you tell me, because I've seen mountain lion bites and I've seen bear bites, and I've also seen shark bites, and none of them look any different to me, at least. I don't know. I had to start over. Been here longer than a month. You sure have, but I'm happy for it. Thank you, Josh. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate that, and thank you for gifting the 10 memberships as well. Love you, Josh. Lab Rats. Jovi, thank you so much. And Ginger, let's see, 2 months. I think it's probably been longer than that for you too. Maybe not, but Summer's Army, always great to see you. Always great to see you too. New member, Josie. Looks like an Australian flag. G'day, mate. Icy poles for everyone. Oh, hold on. Sometimes I forget. Hell of a time. All right. Let me see. Mallycat gifting a membership. Thank you, Mallycat. I appreciate that. Irony Rose gifting a membership. Thank you. Marlena. Good to see you, Marlena. And then keep up the chatter. And Cherry and Max member for 24 months. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all the love and support. I haven't, like I said, within the last month or so, I've been much more active on this channel. So, and we'll continue to be. So I appreciate that. Anyway, so let's get down to it. I know that Nancy Grace did a show, a podcast about the Sebastian Rogers case. Justin was featured on it, and then you had Seth, Tony, and I listened to, I would say, most of what was played, and you know, I guess I have some thoughts about that I'll get to in a little bit. However, one of the things that I've really been noticing is there's this narrative, you know, about Chris and Katie, how they don't attack Seth, but Seth attacks them, and you know, I don't know if you can call it an attack. Look, if you put yourself in Seth's shoes, or you reverse the roles and you were Katie, and Sebastian went missing from your home under your care, that doesn't mean you're guilty of anything, but that does not mean that you're above suspicion, above reproach, anything like that. And I'm here to tell you right now, and you can play this and replay it. And when Sebastian initially went missing, and that very first interview with whoever, I can't even remember. I can't even remember what the station was or whatever. But you know, one of the things that always stood out to me, and that every time I think about this case, that comes to my head, is this cohesive unit that Chris Proudfoot describes, that Katie describes. They describe it as, you know, Seth is this great, you know, he's a great father. He's active in Sebastian's life, that he loves Sebastian and all of the things that go along with it. And you know, okay. Something that I would expect people to say. Now we're so far away from that now. It's just like a boat that has just been untied and it's floating out in the ocean somewhere. I mean, it's just, you couldn't see it from the shore if you wanted to. That's how far away we are from that narrative. Now, what I hear is, well, Chris and Katie are, classy people, and that they don't attack Seth, but Seth attacks them, or this and that. Okay, fine. Chris and Katie have a private investigator who claims to work for Sebastian. Yet I don't know who signs his check, but it's certainly not Sebastian, and it's not Seth. He said that on the paperwork it would be Chris and Katie. Now, I am to assume that the things that are relayed through the private investigator, the things that are relayed through him, are signed off on by Chris and Katie. I mean, the man claims that he's been paid, 15 G's as a retainer, who knows what else. And I don't know if any of that's, I don't know if that's true or not. But the reason that people claim that Chris and Katie haven't thrown any dirt at Seth is because the dirt comes from other people, from others. To me, that's the same thing. Now, the narrative that's being pushed by the private investigator, he goes into Seth's past and says things about Seth that may be true, maybe not true, maybe, skewed. And, whatever. But here's how to me, that he's not working for anybody but really himself and the people that pay him, because he's there to run their narrative. And there's enough skeletons in Chris's closet to decorate an entire Halloween shop. Now, you can say that that's attacking or that's not, whatever. I mean, there seems to be that there's a trail of destruction that Chris has left behind everywhere that he's gone. So why is it okay to use Seth's past against him, but not Chris's past? And I can guarantee you match those up, and they're not even really close to the same. I'm pretty privy to a lot of the things, not pervy, but privy to a lot of the things that this man's been accused of. And I would always ask him, why do you let people do this for you or to you or in your name? I don't know why he does it. And I don't want to talk about Katie's past either. I know that, look, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows more about growing up in a dysfunctional home than I do. So, my sympathies. But at some point, we all grow up, and at some point, we're all responsible for the life that we choose and the way that we choose to act. But I would agree that Chris and Katie don't blast Seth, but they have people do it for them. That whole situation with the Freedom of Information Act, where they were like, oh, look at he worked at a pizza shop. All right, well, what do you do, dummies? You worked at it. What's wrong with working at a pizza shop? It's honest work. You pick people's lives apart. All right, fine. So if the things that Seth, and Seth has been more than vocal about his frustration, and I've seen it, firsthand. Why don't Chris and Katie sue Seth? I mean, I have a pretty good idea why. I mean, people can say they should sue. You don't get it. You do not understand why they won't sue. I do. 100%. I know why they don't sue him. I know why they won't sue him. Can anybody take a guess at why Chris and Katie won't sue Seth? Of course. Of course. Of course. It's not about the suing. The suing option is just not there. Nobody wants to go under oath. Nobody. Now you can say all you want. You know, Chris said, "Well, why don't you sue?" You know, somebody said, "Why don't you sue these creators of this?" And Chris said, "Well, you know, we're not rich. First of all, okay, I would agree with that. But if you're paying $15,000 for a private eye to do everything that you can to direct the narrative, and that's what it is. I mean, he's doing his job. He's doing his job, right? I mean, I don't think it's." Well, you know, I don't know. What's he going to sue him for? He's not the one claiming that they're defaming him, and he's not really interested in that. Nobody's saying, Seth, you should sue them. But people are saying to Chris and Katie, why don't you sue Seth? For what? What's he going to sue him for? What are they going to sue each other? I'm telling you that it's just not something that needs to happen. I don't think that he's interested. But it's the same reason why Don and Candace, who threatened to sue me probably 100 times, even had their media manager say, you know, that they're looking into lawsuit options. Well, okay, you know, I guess that's okay. But we're not talking about lawsuits between YouTube creators. We're not talking about people FOIAing things and, you know, what, that's not what this is. The heart of the matter would be exposed. And if, say, something ever went to trial, and I don't know if it will or not, and I don't know exactly what Chris and Katie know, if they know anything, but it wouldn't be advantageous. I've seen people go under oath before, file lawsuits against, I think I've seen people file lawsuits against police departments when there were no charges brought. They said, well, you know, they invaded my privacy. They did this and they did that. Okay. All right. Blah, 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 blah. So then they get under oath and then they end up indicted. And I don't know if that would happen in this situation, but it sure is possible. But it's unnecessary. You know, I think that we're so far past the point of people, you know, people merging together. There's obviously mud slinging that's going on, and it's unfortunate. But I would just ask, you know, what is it that is so baffling about somebody being suspicious about their child going missing on somebody else's watch, your ex-wife? Is that crazy? I don't think it is. But then, you know, what I do think is crazy is, you know, when the tables get turned and then, you know, you have people dredging up things from the past, right, wrong, indifferent, or whatever, but it's not okay from the other side. Chris will tell you that he's no saint, and I'm not here to put his sins on blast and try to absolve him of his sins at all. We all make mistakes in life. That doesn't mean that he's guilty of anything. But the same things that you could say about Chris or Chris and Katie or Seth, you could say the same thing back and forth. You could do this volley all day. all day. And it's nothing changes from it. And I'll tell you this, you know, the big accusation, and sorry, Seth, for bringing this up, but it's been talked about over and over, is this whole, you know, when Katie met Seth and when Seth met Katie. So that is the launching point against Seth. All right. Now, if you take that situation and you go, okay, look, you look at this situation and you go, look what happened here. And by the way, I don't even believe that narrative. There's no proof other than, you know, dummies counting on their finger or whatever. Okay, so you have that situation and you go, okay, well, this happened, so how does this relate to Sebastian going missing? All right. So you have that. You have the thought of, you know, when Chris and Katie started dating, or, you know, however you want to put it. Then you have the situation of Sebastian going missing from his home. Which one seems more relevant to finding the missing child? What's more relevant? Which one takes precedent? Which lead are you going to chase? Which avenue are you going to go down? To me, it's a no-brainer, but that's just me. And I've been accused of being stupid. I've been accused of not knowing what I'm talking about. So it may be fine, okay? I just don't know how one situation equates to the next. I don't. And I wish I did, but I don't get it. And if somebody could explain it to me, I would love to hear that explanation. But to me, I don't think that it's really a real question. Okay, all right. When did Seth and Katie get together? Okay, that's our hard, you know, Seth is this and that, and let's go back to before Sebastian was born. All right, great, good deal. Let's do it. Or how about we talk about the days leading up to Sebastian going? Who was he with? His mother. Does that make her guilty? No. Does that cast suspicion? Of course. And if you're mad about that, then, you know, boo-hoo. Doesn't matter. If that bothers you, that she is, you know, not above suspicion, that Chris is not above suspicion, and certainly Seth certainly wasn't above suspicion, because he got his house tossed. All right. His house was tossed because they wanted to know what was going on. Laura Lodge asked for, you know, SF is doing his job, you know, and I see him on Twitter. He calls people charlatans and frauds and stuff like that. And, you know, I don't know, you know, maybe he'll call me that too. But, I mean, you know, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And, you know, Adventures with Purpose never received the reward that they were that they were told by SF that they were going to get. So that to me seems like kind of a fraud, charlatan type situation as well. You know, how dare him do that to other people? I mean, they absolutely have said that they did not get paid for finding Kylie Rodney. I don't know what the agreement was between them, but it sounds like there was supposed to be something. It sounds like they had never heard from them again. They all need to grow up and work together to find Sebastian, but Katie was the last one supposed to see Sebastian, but Chris was lurking somewhere. I mean, I don't know. You know, there are certain things. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't know where it went, but that's the allegation against SF through one of the old members of Adventures with Purpose, which, by the way, if he would be lying about it, SF, you should, I mean, I think you would have a lawsuit there potentially. I don't know. Would you? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Love and blessings to you, Josh. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. But one of the things that could have been cleared up right away, and that I think that was, I say clearly lied about, but it was more this misdirection. You know, it was when SF was talking to Laurel, the Aiden guy from Lore Lodge or whatever the hell the name of that show is. And he said that, you know, it's been confirmed that Chris was at work. And then he said, well, did law enforcement tell that to you? And he goes, no. No, law enforcement doesn't talk to him. They're pretty tight-lipped, and that's probably true. But he's their attack dog. And then the people that go, well, you know, Chris and Katie haven't done anything towards Seth. That's just not true. That's just a lie. The guy that works for them calls him a pedo every single day. You don't think that that's signed off on by Christopher Proudfoot and Katie? You don't think that they could step in and go, hey, we're not going down that road. We want to find our son. No, we're not doing that. Doesn't seem to be the move, right? Does not seem to be the move. Because I guess if you want to keep it classy and factual, what exactly does that have to do with anything? Is that going to, is that, you know, that's a totally separate matter. But it's the only narrative that they have to run with, and it does not further the conversation about what happened to Sebastian, where Sebastian is, or how to find Sebastian. And it seems as though to me that there's just a few people holding this up. I don't exactly know who those few people are, but there can't be that many people that know about it. It's like one of those things, like, do conspiracy, you know, like, you know, people talk about 9/11. And they go, 9/11 was an inside job, right? And then you're like, okay, well, where are all the other people that are talking about that? I don't know. They're not around. You keep that a huge secret your whole life. Do you think that this is going to be kept secret? No, I don't think so. That's the thing, you know, I just know of the guy. I've heard some things about him from the Kylie Rodney case. I didn't think that he came off particularly well on that interview. He seemed to dance around the questions. It's sort of like what a politician would do. I noticed a lot of that, but I just didn't think that he came off looking great on it. And that's just my honest opinion. But he did seem to dodge a lot of questions, and but he's their paid asset. I mean, that's what we got to understand. That's what people have to understand. You know, Seth has Tony, who, by the way, is not a paid asset. He's really somebody I think that just cares about Seth, and really I think they are just friends, good friends that have formed a bond. And then you have a $15,000 retained PI. Okay. What's his job? He says that his job is not to protect Katie and Chris. Then look into the things that Chris has been accused of. Accused of. I don't have the proof other than eyewitness testimony, which, you know, a lot of people like that in court. But you got to look at it from every single angle if you're an actual PI. And I would submit to you, sir, that you claim to be a PI with a license, and I'm not saying that you aren't. Just because you have a license doesn't mean you're a good driver. Just because you have a driver's license doesn't mean you deserve to have a driver's license. Just because you have a driver's license doesn't mean you're operating the vehicle that you should be. So I don't know your qualifications, but what you're saying just doesn't vibe with everything else, okay? What you're saying is what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. We don't know what Chris and Katie are doing to search. We don't? All right. I guess we don't. I guess the best way to find missing people is to be quiet about it. Shh. Shh. Yeah. All right. You don't need a lot of help, you know. It's increasingly frustrating to know that these narratives that get spun, and this isn't even me taking up for Seth. This is me telling whoever it is that says that Chris and Katie aren't spreading misinformation or distracting information, or things that matter none to this. If you have a problem with what Seth did or has done or whatever, all right, that's a separate issue. You better shelve that and take it up at another time, because it doesn't have anything to do with this story. It has nothing to do with what's going on currently. Oh, it shows a pattern of, okay, then bring Chris in as well. Let's do what we need to do. How about we just compress it all side by side? Oh, no. We can't do that. Why? Because I'm paid 15 G's. Paid 15 G's. To do what? To find Sebastian. Or to kick dirt. Because that's what I think. And by the way, every single professional that has looked at this case, professional, not people like me. I'm not a professional. I'm the most unprofessional person you've ever met. Well, maybe not the most unprofessional, but it's up there. It's up there. And I mean, I would be willing to have a conversation with SF about this. If he'd be willing, because I would be curious to ask him if Seth's past is so important to the story, then why isn't Chris's? If Seth shouldn't be quote unquote trashing Chris and Katie, then why is their mouthpiece? Yeah, he's welcome. He is welcome to come on the show, but he's going to have some sort of proof of the things that he says. And I will line up the things that I would want to say, but I don't think he's interested. I don't think he's interested. Talk to law enforcement. work with law enforcement. My question to Chris and Katie would be, when was the last time you spoke to law enforcement? When was the last time they spoke to you? And to Seth, when is the last time you spoke to law enforcement, or when is the last time they spoke to you? We could answer those questions back to back. I don't know the answer. Yeah. I don't know the answer, but you tell me. I don't know. I don't know if they are. Maybe they are. I haven't heard. That's what I'm trying to say. But, you know, I just sit back and listen to this narrative that Chris and Katie are these, you know, classy, good parents that would never trash Seth. And by the way, they didn't at first, because they thought maybe that Seth would just go along with, he ran away. He just walked. I don't know why he walked out the door. How do you know he walked out the door? How do you know he wasn't carried out the door? No sign of forced entry. He's not on camera anywhere. I don't know. But when that narrative fell apart and that Seth chose not to believe, or whatever it is that he does believe, well, you don't know why he walked out the door. Did he walk out the door? Do you know something we don't? Are you just assuming? That's the first. He's never ran off before, but so that's the first time. Okay, yeah, something has to happen. Like, you have to do something that you've never done before to have it happen for the first time. Running away is quite a leap, especially for a child like Sebastian. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's highly, highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. And the fact of the matter is that there's been a narrative, and that law enforcement seems as though they may have followed it at first. And then after they checked all the boxes, they said, well, you know what? I don't see, did he run away? I don't know. Doesn't seem like it. Why not? Because there's no evidence of that. There's no history of that. But let's go back and talk about when Seth and Katie finally hooked up. All right. Sure. But let's go back and talk about all the times that Chris has been drugged to court for CPS, and all the people that have emailed and said things that they've had interactions with Chris that weren't so pleasant. I don't know if the guy's pleasant or not. I've heard him freak out a bunch. Yeah, he doesn't seem so pleasant, but maybe he is. Maybe he's a charmer. I don't know. Maybe he plays Silent Night on the piano during Christmas and wears a scarf. I don't know. I don't know the guy. But if all things are fair, how about the person that's living in the house that has had many, many run-ins with law enforcement, CPS, the military? All right. I don't know if he wears a scarf or not. I'm just saying. And honestly, I'm not even attacking the guy. I'm just saying, let's be real about this. Your narrative, well, they don't, Chris and Katie don't say anything about Seth. They don't have to. They paid somebody to do it. Well, I don't know if they paid him. SF says that they didn't pay him, that somebody else has paid him. But SF, if you're doing your job, look up the stuff about Chris, because I guarantee you, if you were Seth's employee, if Seth had 15 grand to pay you, I'm sure you would have been going after those CPS reports like a madman. If there were all, by the way, you brought up the ones from California with Seth, but you didn't bring up the ones with Chris. Why is that, SF? Why? because you're a paid fraud. That's what it is. That's what you are. You are paid by the Proudfoots. That's it. And the only people that listen to what you're saying are the people that want Seth to be guilty of harming his son. I don't want Chris and Katie to be guilty of harming Sebastian. I would hate for that to be the case. I would hate it. And I hope it's not the case. I hope that there's some explanation beyond our comprehension and that he's safe somewhere. I hope that that's the case. I fear it's not. Are Chris and Katie victims until further notice? I would say, yeah, I guess so. But they're not innocent in the mudslinging. They're not. To me, it's just beyond comprehension. You know, I mean, I see these thumbnails and then, you know, it's just the disrespect and, you know, I don't know, man. We've really, like I said, the boat was untied, and somebody in the chat said, no, the boat didn't just drift away, the boat sank. And it kind of feels that way, you know. What's up? SF, well, I mean, that's what he's paid to do. It is. It is absolutely what he's paid to do. So he's doing his job, but don't make it seem like you're just some wonderful human that's going around unapologetic and unjudgmental on everybody's side. I haven't seen you say one negative thing about Christopher Proudfoot when there are a lot of negative things that could be brought up about him, but you won't do that. And we all know why. And the people that support you know why. And that's fine. But just say, keep it like it is. Tell it like it is. What does Chris say? Call a spade a spade. It's just, you know, the hypocrisy. It's not that people go on and trash people and say things, you know, just that don't make any sense or whatever. It's the hypocrisy that is what's crazy. Fair is fair, right? Okay. So you talk about Seth's past and the things that Seth has said and all this stuff. Okay, fine. What about Chris? What about Katie? Is she above reproach? Is she off limits? Why? Because she's Sebastian's mother? Okay. What about Sebastian's father? What about Sebastian's stepfather? I don't know what argument that you could come back with about it. SF is their spokesperson. And he gets paid to defend them. That's just all there is to it. It's true. I watched that interview. I saw it. He said it for himself. I don't know what else there is to say about him. You're paid to help find Sebastian? Well, then start digging into your own client's past the same way that you dig into Seth's. No, I can't do that. Why? Because they signed my checks, which makes you have absolutely no credibility whatsoever. None. None, you know? I mean, and it just doesn't make any sense. It'll never make sense. You hang on this guy. You hang on this guy's every word. And like I said, he's doing his job. That's what he's paid to do. But it doesn't mean that he's working for Sebastian. You can say anything you want. Anybody, you have a vocal box, and you can say, "I work for Sebastian." Do you? You do? Sebastian's signing your checks. Okay. I don't think so. And then to run a smear campaign online. Okay, well that's what people do. People do that all the time. Doesn't make it right. Of course it's not right. Of course it's not right. But but God, Seth should not be at all bothered at all by his son going missing under the care of his ex-wife. That shouldn't bother him. He should just be like, you know what? I don't know, man. Jeez. That's just, Katie, that's real unfortunate. 10, 11 months later, I don't know. What do you know, Katie? I just know that I heard a thump. Well, what else? And I don't know why he walked out that door. I mean, that's basically all that we've heard. Who wouldn't be frustrated by that? What parent in their right mind? If my ex-wife were to say that to me, I go, there's got to be something else. There has to be more. What is it? There has to be. Please, I'm begging you. No, I just don't know. There has to be more. I bet I would put bottom dollar on the people that have been. I just don't think they've told everything. I mean, I just don't. I don't know what it is that they haven't told. I don't know. I have no idea. But you want to, grooming allegations and all this kind of stuff against, the CPS from California. All right, fair game. Now go get Chris and bring his stuff up and talk about him. Nah, I'm not going to do that. You're not? Nah, I don't think so. Why? Well, it's just a little thing called money. Well, I don't know. I don't think that she knows, does she? She says that they don't know what happened. They don't know what happened. And maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I just, Josh, I can't thank you enough for saying this. Words out of my mouth, and I don't have a platform. I appreciate you saying that. This is just, I've felt like this for quite some time. Hey, Mr. E, good to see you. I've just watched it, and all right, see you later. Bye, Sharon. Yeah, don't be mad. I don't understand that as well. And it's just, it's so frustrating. Let's just keep everything equal. Let's keep everything square and compare the two. I think that's right. Would it really be, SF, I don't think I need to tell you how to do your job, and I don't know how to be a private investigator, but I certainly would tell you that if I was privately investigating everything would be private. Private. Hence the P in PI. It doesn't stand for pinhead. It stands for private. Nah, why be private about it? I don't know that many private eyes you're a public eye. That's what you are. You're a public eye. You're a public mouthpiece. Oh, yeah, the private eye. You mean the not so private eye? Private eye. This guy has the audacity to tell people that they are, um, you know, unaccomplished and charlatans and con artists and, it's just whatever, dude. Whatever. You're a private eye. So why don't you go privately investigate the case and privately go pull information on your clients? You don't have to tell them about it. Just go ahead and read through it. I don't know if you'd know a clue if it kicked you right in your nutsack. Probably not, but I don't know. Maybe you're the best private eye ever. Maybe you're the most. I think he once said that he was the most expensive PI to ever walk the face of the earth. What a waste of money that would be. Hit that like button if you're around. Well, I mean, he tells everybody else that they're con artists. That's what he says. Everybody else is a con artist. Okay. SF was extremely off-putting, but he did his job because we were talking about him. No, I'm talking about the, his stance where he is not a biased investigator. That's impossible. You don't get hired by somebody for them to find you out. And I would tell you this, and he says, well, if I came across anything that would indicate, I don't believe that either. God, I hope so, but I just don't believe it. I really don't. I don't know. I don't know what the return policy is on a private investigator. I have no idea. You imagine, like, yeah, I'm going to turn all this stuff in. By the way, here's your 15,000 back, and also your daily deposit or whatever it is, your per diem or whatever. Is there something like that? Is it something you can refund? I don't know. But, Chris doesn't stop any of this. SF is his own person. He does what he wants to do. Bull crap. He's paid by somebody around you. If not, I don't know exactly who pays him, and I don't want to speculate, but I would think it's probably a different generation, possibly above them, maybe. I don't know. Why not spend that money to sue Seth for all the terrible things? Why not spend that money to sue people that make up narratives? Nah, we can't go that route, but we can get protective orders and we can hire a PI. Well, you're not actually a PI. What you are is you're a propaganda minister. That's what you do. That's how I feel about it. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. I also wouldn't be above saying, yeah, I was completely wrong about this situation. I'm not, but I wouldn't have a problem saying that I was, but I'm not. In this exact situation that I'm talking about right now, I'm right. This one, not about what happened to Sebastian, not about anything else besides what's good for the goose, good for the gander. And right now, that's not what's happening. I mean, I agree. There's no communication. A real PI wouldn't be on YouTube. Yeah, what he's doing is he's going after other creators. And look, there are so many people that talk about this case now, I can't even keep track of them all. And I don't try to because I know that there is a lot of stuff that is just getting shut down. And shot down, and you know, somebody says something and it's like, well, that's not true. I've heard so many things. Like somebody said the other day that the Amber Alert wasn't active. I don't think, from what I've heard, that's not true either. I didn't even go look because I don't think it's true. I really don't. I didn't see who is, I don't know who that is. Who is, did she get deleted? I don't see her, but I don't really care either. Yeah, and I don't know what qualifications are. You know, like I said, he could. I don't know what kind of work he does as a PI, because what he's doing isn't private investigating. That's not what he's doing. I don't even remember. I don't know what Dog's doing. I have no clue. I don't have anything to do with that. Right, of course not. I didn't think it was. I didn't even need to go look. Really? Is that true? You can be a PI in Oregon? Aye. Good for him. You can also pay a $50 online. That's true. Be a minister. I know. What am I'm missing somebody's chat here. Hold on. So many. I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody, but I don't even care. Like, I don't care about trolls like I used to a long time ago. I don't care. They're miserable. Let them go around and be social terrorists all they want. Nobody likes them. You know, they're not invited to dinner, to people's houses. You know, it's not like, hey, we want you to come to our party. No. What they're going to do is they're going to sit on the internet and they're going to make like 20 different shell accounts. And then they're going to go troll people. And then they'll get blocked. And then they'll come back with another one because they're losers. Would probably have like just that they're just, I don't know, their couch is, you know, they sit on the middle cushion of the couch and it looks like the V. Like it looks like a V now. I don't care about them. I don't care what they say. I'm telling you that if you're going to do your job and you know, this whole notion that the Proudfoots are these great classy parents who don't say anything about stuff, that's just not true. It's not true. Just because it doesn't come directly from their mouth. Yeah, maybe they're pissed off at some of the things that Seth said. Fine. I would probably be too. Fair enough. But like, just be honest about it. Just be honest. You don't have to lie about it. And like I said, what's good for the goose, good for the gander. Line them up. Look at all of them. Don't just run your agenda. Or what matter of fact, you can run your agenda. Just don't claim that it's something that it's not. Phoniness, fraud. I mean, I don't know what else comes to mind. Hypocrite. I don't know. And what gets lost in the mix is a child, Sebastian, who's been missing going on a year. It'll be a year at the end of this month. A year. How close are we? We need to know. Sharon, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. And Laura, thank you. Gifted one lab membership. I appreciate that very much. 1 year. I don't know why people are bringing up dog to me. I don't know. What's that got to do with me? It doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm not on anybody's side here. I'm on the side that wants this case to come to an end by Sebastian being found and or justice being served and or both. That's the side that I'm on. You could say I'm part of, I've been accused of part of the green team, get a packet. I've never gotten a packet. Green's not even a color that I really like that much, except, what was that, St. Patrick's Day. I like it because it symbolizes Sebastian and who Sebastian is. Apparently green was his color and is his color. So for that, I can respect it. Yeah. I don't think that I don't know the last time they had. I think that the reason they say that they don't speak is because when they speak, they get attacked. Well, I could tell you this right now. Every time Seth speaks, he gets attacked. And I could tell you that every time anybody with a voice in this case speaks, typically they're going to get attacked from somebody. Typically, it's not anybody that you would give a shit about attacking you. That's just where I'm coming from. To me, it's all feckless and it means nothing. The infighting. It's just something that people do that have no life, that are bored, that sit online all friggin' day. And when I say all day, it is all day type stuff. You could find some jerk talking about this case, 100 times over for no good reason, other than, people are interested in it. I don't even know where the green team thing came from. But right. Got it. Thank you, Pam. It's just to me, it's just such a sham. And it's almost like a soap opera type situation, The days of our, what is it? Like sand through the hourglass. So are the days of our lives. Lisa Murphy says, and thank you for your $10 donation. Josh, keep speaking your truth. It's common sense. This world is missing. And there will be people that get angry at me for it, for saying this or whatever. And you know what? I've made peace with that. I could care less. Everything that I've said, I stand behind. I think that it was more than fair. I'm not saying that Chris is guilty. I'm not saying that Katie's guilty. I'm not saying that Seth is guilty. I'm not saying that, SF had something to do with it. It's just a misrepresentation of what he's doing, but he would never admit that, but that's the truth. And he knows that. He knows that his client isn't Sebastian, that his client is Chris and Katie, and that he's a not so private eye. He's a public eye who has been paid by one side to, I have no idea, other than to just run with that narrative. They're your clients. Y'all have a good night. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Yeah, pray for the missing. Just it's horrible. Thank you guys. I appreciate you being here. I really do. Hit that like button on the way out. I appreciate it. Police. The Green Team are allegedly Brittany Jay's members of her channel. It's from the movie The Big Green. The Big Green's a great movie, by the way. Love it. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Good night. Later, Eric. Best show I've seen in a while. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm like a rocket ship. Like, pew. I say what I gotta say. I gotta go. You know, I'm not a marathon. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate that. You guys have a nice night. I don't have it right now. Actually, I'm in between boards. Open the shadows. Thank you again for your generosity. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Yeah, you know what? The license ran out on that. I don't have the claim to it anymore.